Welcome to the Synergy Sisters podcast with hosts Debbie Prediger and Mary Gervais, two super connectors at heart who love building powerful relationships with visionaries and thought leaders. We act as a focal gathering point for people, ideas, dreams, and enterprises. We know that collaborations, connections, and trusted real relationships unfold naturally as you tune into your intuition. What is your heart whispering? We love to explore the big, audacious dreams of heart-centered entrepreneurs as they step into their leadership roles. We love weaving business and marketing strategy with spiritual development, energetics, and growth mindset.
Well, hello everyone. We are back and we are transitioning from our luminescence into our intuition. So we know that to shine externally, this is only possible because of what's happening on the inside. Intuition is the source of that light. It's that deeper knowing that guides our actions. It allows us to show up authentically. It could be that tingle in your arms. Some people have their little hairs feel like they're standing up. Some people say they get it in the gut. I get it in the heart. But it's that deeper knowing that guides our actions and allows us to show up authentically. And I would say that if we don't have our intuition, our light might flicker or it might fade. But when we connect to that inner wisdom, our light burns brighter and guides us, and not just ourselves, but others.
So beautiful, Mary. When I think about intuition and all what you said about if we don't have it, if we don't practice it, our light starts to flicker. To me, that is our connection to source. That's what intuition for me truly is that it isn't for me to logically figure it out. My logical brain will try to keep me safe. It'll lead me off on a wild goose chase. It's conditioned and patterned from life's experiences. But my inner knowing, right here in my heart, that comes from my connection to source. And I'll tell you what, when I started realizing that I had the answers within, that I didn't need to go externally searching for the solutions and the answers, that the truth of me sat right here, that was freedom. Freedom in a bottle, freedom that just exploded everything. Now, instead of wondering and wishing and wanting and figuring and all the hard work that I was doing, I just got quiet and started listening to my own inner guidance.
Oh, you just gave me chills. Like, seriously, because everything that we need is inside of us. And Debbie, when we realize that, that is freedom. Freedom, freedom, freedom. I mean, and you were talking about the divine, and it's the energy, it's the deep spiritual insight and intuition. It's that divine feminine wisdom. And whether we are male or female, we all have that intuition inside of us, right? And how you tap into that intuition in source, that's the connection that allows us to illuminate the path, our path, and to guide others with clarity and love.
I could go so many ways. I'm going to go back to what your last said, to guide others. So once we've tapped into our intuition, we have a ritual and a practice, and we know how to get that truth and inner knowing, and we get these divine downloads and all this stuff. I feel like we're partnering with the divine. I feel like we have an extraordinary gift that we are really stepping up and saying, I'll use this gift for good. And so, yes, I can tap into other people's thoughts and even feel it in their bodies and all of the different things that I have a beautiful gift for. But there's also boundaries and there's, responsibility and all of that stuff of that's their space. And until they want me to come into it, it's not mine to know. So I had to learn how to shut off my intuition and still allow that beauty of that person to come through. Right? Don't just shut the wall and shut everybody out, which was used to be my way. I had to like this too much noise, too much stuff coming at me. I'll just shut it all down. So now I know when I get that intuitive download or that whisper that says there's more here, ask this question, speak about this, go in this direction or that direction, because that person's soul is calling for you. And so it's a gentle nudging, it's a gentle asking of permission, creating this safe space so that that person feels safe and held and seen. And now they choose to open up and then you can guide them. Does that feel the way
Oh,
you think of it too?
that, yeah, I do feel that. It's like we're cultivating the inner knowing that we have inside of us. So we are guiding our actions, but also our collaborations.
Mm.
And sometimes I feel like we may have an internal knowing, that intuition, and we may share somehow or ask a question to someone about it, but their energy might not be quite aligned at that moment in time. And that takes another internal knowing for us to say, okay, we're just maybe going to be inquisitive, but we're not going to push on this because you also, as you said, Debbie, you have to respect where someone is. And there's no judgment ever because it is not your energy, it is their energy.
Mm.
And to be able to know that you need to just let something be and sit for a while because it is not the right energy of the both coming together at the moment, I think is a beautiful thing. And that goes back to, I say, you have that clarity and you still have that love for that person. So for me, intuition, it comes back to that true, it's like a spiritual visibility.
Mm. Tell me more about that spiritual visibility.
Well, it's kind of, I think it's an energy to source. And when you can go on and inside and it's visible to you, it's fabulous. And when you put it out, is it visible to that person at the moment or is it not?
Well, I think it is. I think that we go back to the card that we said, and I think that there was something in there that you said about this divine spark.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
When you light up more for you, you light up more for the people that you're meant to help, you become this like magnetic, like, ooh, I need to speak to Debbie or Mary. There's something here. You get inquisitive, you open up your mind to be able to like let your wall down. And then the brighter that the guide, the way shower, the truth seeker shines, the more people they can help because now they're in that state of reception. They're able to hear and see and know, but it all started because of the spiritual visibility that you talked about. And that is, to me, another word for aligned, that
Yeah.
you became this aligned magnet where you are living your truth, speaking your truth, and embodying your truth.
Yeah, and when you said that, it sat with me, and it's like, it's about living from the inside out.
Mm.
And are you allowing what's inside of you to radiate outside and to touch others? So, I mean, it really does go hand in hand. We're talking at first, we were talking about the external impact of the luminescence, but the inner foundation of the intuition is that true spiritual visibility.
Yeah, I mean, for me, without the intuition, I'm only able to find the clarity and the confidence and embody my belief system to a certain degree. And here's an example that just happened this morning. I was having a conversation and I was very aware that I had something mixed up. Like my intuition was like radar, 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 but I didn't really understand. So the word abandonment and the word rejection came up. And when I thought about it, both with my logical brain and then with my intuition, I recognized that I had a belief or I was putting a meaning on it that they were the same thing. And I needed to go deeper. I needed to have a conversation in a way that would let me see it from a different perspective. My intuition was guiding me that there was more to this than what I was believing to be my truth. So obviously my ego was still trying to keep me safe or locked into an old pattern or habit, and I knew intuitively that there was more, and that unfolding or getting the answer to that was going to unlock another door to an entirely new realm of reality. And it did. And I loved it. But without my intuition, I wouldn't have gone deeper. I would have stayed in this all knowing this is the truth of who I am, this is where it's at. And that kept me safe to a certain point. But intuitively, I knew that in order to take that next step in understanding emotions, I needed to see the real difference between those two.
Oh, that is fascinating. And it's like I when you're saying that, it's like that, it's that intuitive connection that source was guiding you. Like you knew that there was something else that you had to sit with. Can I ask you, how did you, like, what action did you take? Did you sit with it? What, did you go for a walk? What was it that in that moment allowed you to come into the clarity that you were looking for?
So even though it feels like when I speak about it, it'll speak about it in three parts, it actually was all in one. But
Okay.
first of all, I had to sit with it to actually get out of my own way in my logical brain and really listen to the divine on what was actually happening here. And fear and old traumas and patterns were not letting me see the truth.
Mm.
And so I recognized that right away. And I knew that I needed to be guided into a deeper understanding. And so I reached out to a mentor that could help me see it from a different perspective. And that's where I believe that we all have blind spots. And I was intuitively being guided to see a blind spot that I had. And without me having that inner knowing, that intuition, that hit of like curiosity, I wouldn't have had this breakthrough.
Oh, I love that. And the thing that really is profound for me, remember I was talking about that clarity and love? And I know that we always have that clarity and love either within us or around us. But we have to be open to sourcing it. And you have to be willing to ask for that guidance from others sometimes, because we were not meant to be on earth and to function by ourselves. We are a collective. So I think that that is the important thing is reaching out to others is also part of that intuitive connection to source.
Mm. Mary, this is going to take me back to circle back to something you said earlier, but I also want to tie it into what you just said now. And that is our ability to partner with source, but partner with others on the human realm right here.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that me and you love to do is one of our greatest joys is to do intuitive sessions with clients. And we've both, Mary and I realized that we were both doing them. And there would probably be a better collaboration, not even a better, is there is times when us coming together to do it together would be like adding that third or fourth or fifth brain into the mix. And so once we started doing these intuitive collaborations, we just felt the magic happen. And we both have divine downloads all the time, but don't judge ours as being the right one or yours to be the right one, because we know that there's an expansion of seeing the different perspective and hearing. So we have the client come in and they talk about, where they're at, what they really want, where their struggle is, where they wish they could, unlock a certain key. We listen to what's being said, expressed verbally, but we also feel in the body of where there is something holding that back, where that person's in their own way. And then intuitively really listen with all of our senses and all of our gifts that both Mary and I have been given. And we speak it verbally back to the client to open up a new awareness. But from that point, we actually almost get pulled back into the logical, because the client wants to like, oh, it's because of this, this, and this. And so we naturally let that unfold, because that's part of the awe and wonder and the thing. And then later, after the session is done, Mary and I separate and go into our own intuitive practice where we get our own divine download, and we speak that verbally in a voice recording that we then gift to that client. So it's almost like a 4-in-1, because you get Mary, you get Debbie, you get us together, and then you get almost a pure connection with source coming through us, channeled through us in a voice message. Mary, did I miss anything there?
No, I mean, that's about it. And and it's so beautiful. And I do have to say, last night I was at a networking event with women, and normally there's about 40 of us, but last night there were 11 of us, and it was absolutely perfect because we all sat at a table and we really got to dig deep and talk about where people are. So one of the women, who actually has become a very good friend of mine, starts talking about how she's working with middle-aged women, empty nesters, women in menopause. And she was talking about this, and I just kept putting out words. I'm like, oh, that's because you're showing them patience. And that's because this. And she just started laughing. She's like, Mary, I'm going to start writing these things down. And I'm like, I'm sorry, this is just how my brain and my body works. So, but it's so true, because you just have this knowing that comes in. And actually, I know that we have so much fun doing it. So that's going to lead me into talking about, Debbie, when we are fully embodying our connection and our intuition, um, and we're getting that divine guidance, that means that we are, yes, we're embracing what our unique gifts are. And that is what gives us that joy.
Mm.
And so it's like when you have that connection, that's what you're supposed to be doing. And I mean, we will get into more conversations, but it's just so beautiful when that inner knowing and that innate wisdom that we have been given and we are guiding and sharing is fun, because that's what it's supposed to be, right?
Yeah, I love this. I think this circles me back to the question, somebody's saying to you, that's great, you guys have these amazing abilities to have intuition and have these extraordinary gifts, but what about me? I don't even feel like I can even think, let alone, be intuitive. And what I say is start with fun. Start with playing. Start with playing games with yourself. I know that people will say, like, oh, I wonder if I'm going to get a parking spot in front of the store or way over to the side. Oh, what are you choosing? Well, I want the parking lot in front of the store. Well, let's see if one will appear. And then you have to pause a little bit longer at the stoplight. But look at the parking lot opened up right there in front of you. Number one, play. Play with your angels and your guides. Ask them questions. Ask for them to show you something, a song playing on the radio, a number appearing on the clock, your attention being guided to something. Mary speaking about something that I was thinking but hadn't said yet. That's all part of the being intuitive. And it's a muscle. When we practice it, when we give gratitude that we were guided, when we say thank you, more happens. And pretty soon you go from this person that's only living up here in the logical, give me proof, give me proof, give me proof. And my blinders were so on, to being this person that is like partnering with God, partnering with the divine, and is intuitively led in every moment. And that feels so empowering. And everybody has the ability. Mary and I go deep into this when we do our masterminds, when we talk about with our retreats, and obviously with our intuitive sessions. So reach out to us if you want to learn more about how to harness your intuitive gifts. But Mary, when you're speaking fun, how do you see intuition and fun and play all coming hand in hand?
Intuition, fun, and play. Well, there's a balance. You're feeling the joy in the unconditional love for yourself in your heart. And when that happens, your wisdom is like overflowing inside because you're balanced. And then that is when we can tap into that connection and allow us to shine, and then to illuminate the path for others.
One last thing that I'll say is that when you are connected to source, when you are tapped in, when you are plugged into that resource, your intuition's just going to light back up. It really is. And I believe, as Mary spoke earlier, that we are here to play. We are here to have fun. We are here to be of pure joy, because pure joy and pure love, unconditional love, go hand in hand. And so tapping into that frequency of pure joy, recognize what brings you joy, do more of that, play with it, don't take life so seriously, and then just watch the magic unfold.
Beautiful. What a great way to end.
We've loved connecting with you today. And as always, we sign off with love and light, trusting that each listener knows in their heart they were created for greatness. We can easily see that greatness in you, and we would love to be part of your journey to your highest path of creating and living the life that you love. We'd love to have you join our community of heart-led world changers, visionaries, and thought leaders. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. You can find us on all socials as The Synergy Sisters.